Aemar's shield. "Nice shield," Steek mocked. The nervousness in his voice was all Caemar heard. "I'd take this shield over any of yours, any day." Caemar tapped his shield with his spear. Each Olurian was issued a set of metal-stripped armor, a 9-foot spear, a sword for their hip, and of course their round shield. A standard-issue round shield was the width of a step in diameter, wooden to keep it light, but rimmed with steel to reinforce its strength, built to withstand blows from the mightiest Kaigan axe or spear. Caemar's shield was not really his shield at all. He had left his standard-issue Olurian shield at home, under the care of his mother. She had begged him not to go, not to join the useless slaughter. Unlike the polished and perfected shields of his fellow soldiers, Caemar's shield looked as if one wrong crack would shatter it into splinters. More oddly shaped than circular, it had only the roughest iron reinforcing. It looked heavier and weaker than the standard issue. But Caemar knew better. His shield had been tested. His was Aemar's shield. After weeks of marching, they had reached the northern edge of the known world, the Darkwood Forest mere hundreds of paces away. These were the plains of Emesu. Today, they would stamp out the Kaigan threat. Caemar and the other Olurian soldiers lined in perfect formation, 7 rows deep, and Purus only knows how many men wide. Caemar looked from side to side. There had to be hundreds of men across, too many to count. The morning sun glinted off their steel armor, turning the steel from a silver to a brilliant golden. Purus smiled upon them. The waiting was the worst part. The flame of Oler had challenged the cowardly Kaigan people to open battle. No longer would they raid the innocent towns along Oler's northern reaches. To Caemar's surprise, the Kaigan had accepted the challenge. When the Kaigan emerged from the trees of the Darkwood, they ran onto the Olurian spear formation. Caemar didn't understand why they came, until they kept coming. The flame of Oler's top advisors put the most liberal estimates of the Kaigan army had 1 Kaigan man for every 10 Olurians. Those numbers were reversed. Kaigan are dark-haired giants from beyond the Darkwood Forest. They worship trees and bury their dead. They are subhuman, savage. They fight like rabid dogs. They had murdered Caemar's grandfather. They are worse than animals. You were as likely to spot a blonde Kaigan as you were to spot one wielding a sword. They fought with axe and spear. Wild furs adorned them. Caemar didn't recognize the coats of some of the animals. Some of the Kaigan were stripped bare above the waist. The Kaigan swarmed the Olurians. Once the Olurians broke formation, they were no match for the taller, stronger Kaigan. Man to man, with only their sword and shield to defend themselves, the Olurians stood no chance. All around Caemar, men fought, not in their tight formations with shield and spear, but in wild exchanges with the sword. Their armor that had glinted golden in the sun was now crimson with blood. Far too often, a Kaigan axe buried itself into an Olurian. There were many Kaigan grounded, but the downed Olurians outnumbered them by a wide margin. The fleeing and undying Olurians outnumbered those that fought. This was no battle. This was slaughter. Steek was long dead, his body lost in the chaos of the slaughter, one among thousands. Some of the Kaigan had returned to the Darkwood Forest. Some had settled in the dusk and began building fires and cooking meat. They had really been fighting all day. Their laughter haunted him. In some areas, not a single Olurian stood. All had either died or fled. Caemar hoped to join the latter and not the former. Caemar traveled westward. He had never seen the Razor Mountains. He would like to do so, if he lived through this day. He kept to the perimeter of the Darkwood Forest, never daring to enter the cursed woods. He would take his chances with the Kaigan, over the tie wills in the Darkwood. When the sun had disappeared in the west, and the sounds of fighting were long behind him, Caemar finally relaxed his mind. A Kaigan axe smashed into Caemar's side. Through sheer luck, it connected with his hard shield instead of his soft flesh. For all their size and strength, it baffled Caemar that the Kaigan could move so silently. The axe stuck in the shield, the blade protruding through. At the other end, Kaigan hands tried to pry the axe free. When it became apparent the axe would not come free, the Kaigan shifted from pulling to pushing. Caemar was no match for the other man's strength. Caemar had no choice but to backpedal. His shield was strapped to his arm. Eventually, his backward steps stopped. A tree slammed into his back. The shield tight against his chest, it pressed hard against his armor. His heart raced, and his breath labored to take in a full gulp. Caemar pushed back. His arms, shoulders, and chest burned and filled with blood. But the Kaigan man was stronger. A full head taller, the Kaigan leaned over Caemar's shield, his hot breath flavored with spices foreign to Caemar. The tree pressed against the ribs in his back, the Kaigan axe against the ribs in his front. Caemar's armor torn as the blade pressed through. Sharpened iron meant for splitting wood sliced just as easily through Caemar's skin. His flesh burned, and warm blood trickled over his stomach. Still he pushed. Caemar accepted the certainty of his demise. Never would he gaze upon the snowy peaks of the Razor Mountains. Still he pushed. 2 hands joined his own, pushing. The Kaigan may be strong enough to overpower an Illyrian, but he could not overpower 2. Soon the Kaigan was backpedaling. Caemar rushed. The Kaigan tripped, releasing his grip on the axe handle. With no time to reach for his sword, Caemar swung his shield, cracking the Kaigan in the side of the head. In the peaceful grass just west of the plains of Emesu, the Kaigan lay motionless, save for the long and shallow rise and fall of his chest. Caemar drew his sword, and stood over the Kaigan and raised his blade high.
"I didn't save your life to take his,"
called a voice. Caemar steadied his hand. The blade dangled over the unconscious Kaigan man. Whoever had spoken had been the one who had helped him push back the Kaigan, yet no one was to be seen.
"That shield saved your father's life,"
said the voice. "And now it has saved mine," answered Caemar. He sheathed his sword. With great care, the axe came free from the old wooden shield. It left a scar, one of many, an injury in great company. The voice did not come back, but it did not matter. Caemar knew whose voice it was. Caemar's shield was not really his shield at all. It was Aemar's shield, used to save Aemar's son Baemar from Kaigan raiders over 40 years ago. Word of the great Illyrian defeat would spread south through Olar like wildfire. Caemar should return to his mother. Without a concern for the still living Kaigan on the ground beside him, he strapped his shield to his chest and walked west. His mother would have to wait. "Have you ever seen the Razor Mountains, grandfather?"